Want to come out on top on your next high-level negotiation? Derrick Chevalier, Executive Vice President and Negotiation Strategist from Harrison Chevalier, is here to tell us how you can come out of your next negotiation a champ. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Top of the morning to you.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning. Yeah.
So tell us, what are some of the biggest deals that you've negotiated?
Well, biggest deals is, have you ever tried negotiating with a 6-month-old? No.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, sure you
I lost badly, so what can you tell me? How can you help me?
That sounds interesting, though.
Here's the deal. The children are the most effective and the most successful negotiators in the world because they don't really care what you want. They don't care about your opinion, and they don't care about how many times you don't want to hear no. And those are very effective strategies at getting what you want. But as you get older, if you only focus on what you want, you frequently lose a lot of opportunity because you have no idea what the other person was actually willing to give you. So that's what we do, yeah.
On that note, how detrimental is emotions when it comes to negotiation? Is it something you really want to take that out of the equation?
What a great question.
You can't sit there and cry like the 2-year-old, right?
Well, look, you know what? The question is yes and yes. How detrimental? Being emotional with the wrong person is very detrimental. Being emotional with the right person is exactly what you want to do. The crying sometimes is one of the most effective things, especially if it's sincere, but it will work even if it's not.
That's why they call it the art of
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Whatever
of course.
need to
And think about it. The easiest people to negotiate are really emotional people, because anybody that knows somebody who's really emotional, somebody that's a yeller or a screamer, will tell you 3 minutes after they're yelling and screaming, they're 3 years old. You can walk them around because they feel like idiots for what they've done. Did I say what they've done, what we've done? I'm telling them myself. That's why I know that.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah.
How hard is it to negotiate for someone else on someone else's behalf versus when you're doing it for you?
Absolutely more difficult to negotiate with yourself, because you were asking about difficult negotiations. It's difficult to negotiate with people that you're close to, difficult to negotiate for your own salary, difficult to negotiate for what you want. And in those instances, we suggest that you use a third-party restrictive force. So in other words, if you wanted a raise, you would not go and say...
I sure do. Tell me what I got.
Yes, well, if you go in and you say two things, I want a raise, it becomes very personable. But what if you went home and you said, I was talking to my spouse, my husband, and we were talking about, he was asking me why I wasn't paid more. That's a different question.
Speaking of negotiations, I mean, we've all kind of seen the whole Donald Sterling Clipper affair negotiations kind of play out before our eyes.
Right, yes.
What are your impressions of this?
Thanks.
And is this kind of like an unprecedented?
No, it's not unprecedented. I'll show you how old that is. That goes all the way back to classic Greek. It goes back to the Trojan. In fact, what happened, that's an example of what we call cooperative negotiation. Okay. And what people haven't talked about really is the idea, why does Donald have to sell his team? It wasn't what he said. It was that what he said was recorded. Well, would he have said those things had you been on the phone with him? It was an example of somebody taking advantage of a relationship. Caesar himself might not have been stabbed, et brute. Well, you had to be close enough to get the knife in. So the question was, how did she have access? And that's when it's dangerous. When you believe somebody that you trust is trustworthy, you start opening your mouth and you don't ask, do you have a tape recorder?
The questions you
made that parallel. It was very much like a Greek
tragedy. It's actually called Trojan. Yeah, exactly.
Great parallel.
Well, Derrick, there's so many more questions we need to be asking you, so we're just going to have to bring you back.
Well,
how about
that'd be great. I love that.
How does that sound?
And you can solve
Can we negotiate you coming back? We can negotiate you coming back, right?
Yes, that was a good negotiation.
Please come back.
That's the emotional strategy.
Oh, that got it. Okay, I will.